Hello everyone and welcome to the third episode of the On Your Head Son podcast, the podcast where four brothers fill you in about everything you need to know about the Premier League and more. This week we've got three brothers, that's more than last week, so welcome Andy.
Thank you.
How are you doing this week?
I'm very well, happy to be back on the podcast.
Very good, and I like your new shirt. For audio listeners, can you explain your shirt?
Yes, I've got AC Milan's, I don't need to look at the camera, AC Milan's third kits from last year.
Very good.
As worn by Giroud.
Yeah.
So, it was a mystery kit.
Very good in a forest, you'd be very camouflaged.
Yes, I would. For the
Excellent.
audio listeners. Yeah.
Indeed, yes. Welcome Matthew.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing?
Yeah, really good, yeah.
Yeah?
Just really looking forward to doing this again.
Doing this again?
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah. Highlight my week.
And the fans wanted him back. Welcoming again Mr. Ali Yeoman.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Here to talk about Arsenal again.
Yeah.
Give lots of
Spot
deluded
on.
opinions
Yeah.
on Arsenal.
7 aside, I think this time.
Seven aside. Indeed. Well, firstly, big news yesterday. Unfortunately, it was commiserations to England, but we should say a massive congratulations to Spain in the Women's World Cup. And we do have a Spain shirt here.
Viva
So,
España.
Congratulations.
España.
On to other news. The main bit of news from this week is Neymar.
Yeah.
Neymar has gone to Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, what do you think of that?
So, I quite like it for him because I feel like his PSG career, I don't know how long he's been there, 6-7 years now it must be,
Yeah.
since
Mhm.
probably about 2015, 2016. And it is dwindled now, whereby Messi's then come and kind of overtaken him.
Mm-hmm.
Just as the number, not as a number 2 guy, but Mbappe came originally and overtook him, so he's just never really been that main man there.
Yeah.
And then his contract's obviously hilarious. He basically just gets to party whenever he wants to. He's got a 25-bed mansion, 500k per social media post that influences people to come to Saudi Arabia or whatever it is.
Doesn't pay for his food either, does he?
No, I know. It's pretty amazing.
Part of
to
the
be honest.
package.
And activities. It's restaurant, activities and travel.
What
That's
activities does
covers-
he get?
Well, I don't know. You'd have to ask him. Is he jet skiing? Is
I
he...
think it's I think it's just restaurants. To be honest, I think it's
Andy,
Hello.
would you say that overall Neymar's move to Paris Saint-Germain has been a success?
Ooh, good question. Well, how much did he sign for originally? It was a record-breaking transfer fee at the time, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And I think, in terms of what the club wanted to achieve, I think it's a failure because they wanted to win a Champions League.
Mm-hmm.
They got very close in getting to the final, and obviously they wanted the Ligue 1, but they can do that every year. Apart from that year, they had Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe,
Yeah.
and Pochettino messed that up.
Mm.
So I think overall you can't say it's a massive success, but I mean he has played well and he's always been that kind of flair player that they go to straight away, and he's got quite a good record in terms of goals and assists for them. So it's not a massive failure, but I don't think it's a massive success either.
Mhm.
And they've lost money on the transfer fee alone selling him,
Yeah.
which isn't ideal for them.
Yeah. They probably did bring in a lot of interest in business. to
Yeah, well,
him
in the
yeah.
merchandise
Yeah.
kind of way of it, yeah, like kind of in that terms.
And
But
they
in
were-
terms of the footballing,
Yeah.
like kind of why they got a football
Yeah.
player in,
No,
I
I
don't think it's a success.
my favourite thing about Neymar is his stat from PSG that he was on holiday for the Rio Carnival or his sister's birthday, whichever it was.
Mm.
He was either because he got injured or suspended for each game while he was at PSG.
Everyone.
So that's my favourite Neymar stat at PSG. And I think he almost treated it as a bit like a holiday after being at Barcelona with Messi. He tried to come out of his shadow and just never quite lived up to it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Kind of seeing the same level of disrespect from Mbappe to PSG as well at the moment.
Yeah.
So it just almost feels like they pay him so much money, but then these players still don't leave in a respectful manner. I don't know whether that's their personalities or whether it's the way the dynamic at PSG.
I think it's the superstar culture though, isn't it?
It
It's
is.
the fact it's you see that with Ronaldo with the way he left Juve and left Man U. It's that kind of me or the highway kind of vibe. But yeah.
And I mean, you could say, well, that money's not enough, but actually, clearly is, because
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia is stealing. Well, stealing is the wrong word. But a lot of players are moving to Saudi Arabia for big money.
Yeah.
Neymar now being the
biggest.
the
biggest one.
the most famous, after Jordan Henderson probably.
Ruben Neves.
Ruben
Neves.
Neves.
Ruben Neves. He's a Portuguese legend.
What do we think of the Saudi league? Do we think it's going to be competitive? Do you think it's going to be any good?
We were talking about this earlier, weren't we?
Yeah,
Like,
we were.
obviously, it's as good as the players they have there, but it's like, is it the same like in the way that the PSG, like, do these players eventually turn their back on the Saudi league, or do they stay there and it gains kind of traction and more players go there, or do they just get fed up after 2 years? They've got their millions and they just leave. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. Like, it's one of those where it's just going to be hard for you. You've got the example of China 10 years ago, Japan about 20, 30 years ago when Gary Lineker went over there, and the MLS over time, which has kind of never quite built it to that kind of level. But yeah, you've got loads of different examples where other leagues outside of Europe have tried to build a league around a superstar, but it's never quite materialised. I can't see it might stay and hopefully it does, but yeah, I mean, you never know, do you? And with the money they've got, you can easily see it staying as a massive superstar club and actually like a home for, I don't know, kind of like a lot of people who come from a similar culture to Saudi Arabia, and kind of like, for example, your Mahrez's, your Kantes and stuff like that, where, and I think that's where it could be really interesting, but I think for a European going over there, I'm not sure it's going to be a massive league for us, for example, to watch.
Yeah, remains to be seen what happens with the Saudi league. Speaking of the Middle East, we're going to get into our round of fixtures for the Premier League. That didn't really work as a
That
segue,
wasn't a
but
good
it is
transition.
going to. It is going to. Stay with me. Our first game is Newcastle United versus Manchester City. We got there in the end.
Is that clapping?
We expected this game to be brilliant. We expected it to be close. In fact, both Ali and Matt predicted a Newcastle win.
Did.
Face plant.
Yeah,
Humble pie.
humble pie. It
Humble
just
pie indeed.
Newcastle just didn't get started. They didn't really create any significant chances, and they lost 1-0 to a beautiful goal from Alvarez. What did you think of Phil Foden's performance?
Well, I didn't get to watch it.
Love that.
I was going to say,
Love
do
that.
I make it up for the podcast?
Yes.
No, I can't make it up for the podcast.
No, that's
I didn't see
absolutely
it,
fine.
but what an assist! What an assist for the Alvarez goal.
Yeah, it wasn't a great assist, but
It was a one little pass. Yeah, I saw that. Fine.
did anyone see Phil Foden? He looked brilliant.
No, Phil Foden plays very well,
Yeah.
and that's actually really good to see him actually back playing. Where because recently he just hasn't played, he hasn't started a game, and it's been really frustrating because for me, like, he was probably like the best England player for a long time without necessarily kind of performing. Well, the most talented England player for a very long time, and obviously now you've got Bellingham who's kind of overtaken him really.
Saka.
Yeah, fine. But I mean, in terms of just natural talent and natural like flair of the ball and really hungry, and it's just really good to see him playing again and properly putting a shift in. I really enjoyed his performance. So.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Does he ever look bad? Like, you know, like you're talking about his performance. Have you ever seen him play a game where he doesn't look good?
I have seen Phil Foden go missing in games.
Yeah.
Frequently for England, definitely.
Yeah.
But also for Man City, and I think that the difference with this week is he was playing in his best position, in my opinion, which is really like central attacking midfield. He's normally pushed out to one of the wings, and you just don't get the like his ability to find spaces in between the midfield and defence is brilliant.
Yeah.
But I do think it's hard in a 4-3-3. He's never going to get into a centre mid role with that. So if you go into a 4-2-3-1, he then gets that cam. But now Kevin De Bruyne is gone. Like you said, he gets that kind of opportunity to play through the middle.
Massively.
Yeah.
That's good. And Guardiola looked good. Guardiola looked good. Literally, so I also didn't watch a game, unfortunately. We're like Grand's 80th, so big up Grand. But,
Happy birthday, Gran.
Happy birthday, Gran. But yeah, so but I mean, I saw like basically just a couple of tackles where it was like a 3-on-1.
Yeah.
And he just completely just nipped in straight away, bam, and it's his. And I really enjoyed that.
Looks like a great signing.
Yeah, 75 million.
Yeah,
but
something like that.
But yeah, obviously looks like Laporte's out of the way, possibly. But
To Saudi as well.
yes, exactly. Yeah.
Is he? He's quite young though, isn't he?
It's 28, but he falls out of everyone. He falls out of everyone, as we said
Yeah.
earlier. So yeah, I mean, I think Guardiola looks like a good replacement there.
Yeah. Just one more question on Newcastle versus Man City. How far behind Man City are Newcastle?
That game, I think, corrected a lot of people, including mine's opinion of where Newcastle are. It just looked so one-sided. I don't remember Newcastle creating a chance. If I was to say many chances,
They
a
didn't
chance.
really. No.
So that goes to show where they are, I think.
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree. I think you watch that game and then you realise just suddenly, like, Man City just street spur everyone else.
Yeah.
Man City, and it's just
I
they
do
can
think
just-
it's harsh to compare Newcastle to Man City.
Yeah.
Because I think Newcastle is a building project,
Yeah.
considering where
Yeah.
Eddie Howe came in when they were 19th,
Yeah.
and how far they've come with that. It's harsh to compare them to Man City,
Yeah.
who for, I don't know how many years now, been winning the league, or second, the 8th.
Yeah, Newcastle massively overachieved, didn't they?
Yeah.
Personally, I mean, they were brilliant last year, but they overachieved their wildest dreams, really.
A lot
last
of
year.
Newcastle fans
So-
would probably say that we're one of the best teams in the country now.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah, they would.
They're giddy.
I don't
I
disagree
don't
with
know.
that. I don't disagree with
I
that.
think they're one of the best, definitely, but I don't think they're going to finish top 4 this year.
No, I think I finished top 6.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. Okay, moving on to another big feature game. We had Tottenham versus Man United. Tottenham 2, Man United 0. You made a comment. Ali, you made a comment last week
Yeah.
about Man United's midfield being non-existent,
Yeah,
and
and
that was correct in this game.
turns out I am an expert. No, that is just confusing. Like Tottenham, fair play look really good, and I think the coach is doing a good job with them. But Charles is somehow not getting many chances though. But their midfield looks good. But I think more that game shows is how Ten Hag's got it completely wrong with Mason Mount. Like, why is he playing him centre mid? He's not a centre mid. He never has been a centre mid. He played for England in a central role behind 2 CDMs because he's not a centre mid. So he has to put 2 CDMs behind him. So what I saw, and I only saw the highlights of the game, but what I saw when there were phases of play that led to goals, I was seeing like 3 Tottenham players surrounding Casemiro.
Yeah.
After Tottenham had broken through the United press.
Yeah.
So I just think that Ten Hag, jury's out for me on Ten Hag.
Jury's out already.
Yeah.
That is early.
That's
No,
That is
not
very early.
Based on last season as well, to be honest, I'm just not sure about him. I think he's a good manager, but there's been comparisons between how he's much better than Ollie. I think that the jury is massively out for me. Is he actually better than Ollie? Is he doing anything better for United than Ollie did? I'm not sure. He signed Anthony for 80 million. Anthony looks useless. He signed Mason Mount, who I thought he was going to put him on the right and get rid of Anthony. He's playing him centre mid. He signed Hodgland, he's got a similar name to Haaland. I'm confused. I don't understand it. Yeah.
It's all part of the master plan.
It's all part of the master plan.
Genius.
I do think that he got them playing a lot better last year, from taking them from where Ralph Rangnick was to getting them to the Champions League last year. I thought he did really well.
But Rangnick wasn't even a coach. When he was brought in, he wasn't even coaching the team, was he? He was like this. Was he a sporting director?
So he was brought in as an interim coach with a view to him staying on as sporting director. He did so poorly that he then lost the job as sporting director.
But what I meant is when they brought Rangnick in, he wasn't coaching elsewhere when they brought him in. He was.
No, correct.
Yeah,
So that's like batting off a very low base, comparing Ten Hag, who's supposed to be the next Ferguson or something, to like a guy who.
I don't think anyone's described him as the next Ferguson.
People want him to be
A
Pep.
lot of fans.
If you do look on BBC Sport after they won the Carabao Cup, the BBC Sport had a long article about comparing about how this is a new era and he's like the new Ferguson.
Okay.
So
I do think he's a better manager than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, though. I still agree with that, because I mean, where the team he inherited last year, I think he's come on massive from like kind of how they've played and how they were constantly starting Maguire. I mean, I love Maguire. Don't get me wrong, viewers at home. But he didn't suit Man United about how they want to play out from their back and their new style of play.
Mhm.
I think Ten Hag has brought in a new style with him,
Yeah.
which is kind of he's implementing now.
Yeah. But most armchair fans would have dropped Maguire like 3 years ago. So like, I mean, him getting rid of Ronaldo and Maguire, those for me are just obvious decisions that, for some reason,
Maguire's still there.
no, but getting rid of him out of the team. You should. He almost left to West Ham, but I just feel like
Keep him in prison.
he's getting a lot of credit for getting rid of Maguire. Getting rid of Ronaldo. It's like, well,
Mm.
like,
No, I agree.
I don't know if that's the sign of a good coach.
Yeah.
It's just some obvious decisions he's made.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yes, please.
But it's difficult to know whether all of these were his signings or whether they're sporting director's signings.
He did say before he signed Anthony that he was adamant he really wanted Anthony. He was very vocal about it before he signed him. So Anthony was, I would say, is his signing, and that is looking budget.
Budget,
Yes.
budget,
Big time.
budget. But Marcus Rashford playing through the middle. Also, I don't want to just talk about Man U. I do want to talk about Tottenham a little bit.
Yeah.
Marcus Rashford down the middle looked lost as hell.
Yeah.
But saying that, Man U should have gone at half time about 2 or 3-0 up.
This is the thing. So
Comfortably.
we always judge
The score.
the score.
Yeah.
If you actually watch the full game, Man United were the better team in the first half. Clearly, they missed some sitters. I do actually.
Rashford had a header.
Yeah, he had a header. Bruno Fernandes had a header.
Yeah.
I saw that one. That was a
Rashford
shocker.
was- yeah.
Bruno miss.
Yeah.
Rashford had a 1-on-1. They really had some chances. Second half,
Even
Yeah.
Ange. Yeah.
Man United were all over the place. They really were, and they were easy to cut through. And Spurs did that. And fair play to Spurs. It's exciting. I think we said this last week.
Yeah.
It's exciting watching Spurs play
It is.
football
Yeah.
and not just defend the entire time.
No,
It is.
I had my doubts about Ange, but from that game he looked quite, progressive going
Yeah.
forward and everything. So
Yeah, but also, if they
I'd
did
say-
concede 2 in the first half, we'd be talking about a completely different game here, where Ten Hag's a genius, and they would just shut up shop after kind of the first half an hour when they should have been 2-0 up. But obviously, the way it happened was just Spurs just came back into it and then just got into. Basuma played really well. He's got two player of the match, whatever it is now, and Sarr obviously looked really
Yeah.
good playing. So and Maddison's injured. That's the big one, and he obviously left in a boot. I think the
Who
stadium.
do they have as a
replace
10
him?
role? Do they have anyone? I'm trying to
I
think.
don't actually. I can't think of one other number 10 they've got.
So they maybe could play Kulusevski in a 10 role. He's the sort of player who could maybe fit that. I know he's not.
I guess
so.
so.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
I have
Or
no
did he-
idea.
No.
Is
and
who?
Son
Lo
looked
Celso.
better.
A bit better.
Son looked better, which is
Yeah.
good. Obviously, I know last week
Yeah.
we kind of said Son looked awful, which he did against Brentford.
Yeah.
But this year, I
But he had
think,
so
for
much
this weekend-
space down the left, didn't he?
He
Like
did,
they were
yeah.
just.
Yeah.
He was a one-on-one with the defender.
Wan-Bissaka, I don't know where he was. He was up against Varane, and he's always going to win a race against Varane. Varane is, I don't know how old he is, but he seems ancient.
I gotta say though, I'm liking the sound of Ange. I think
like it.
in the interview as well, he comes across well. I think
Do you like Australian accents?
that's what I like about
Mm.
him. He's Australian. No, I just think that there are.
Oh, do you like Australian accents? Yes or no?
No.
Ah, well, you're gonna love this.
That felt like entrapment.
No, that's not what I was going to say at all. I was just expecting a bloody hell yes. Something
That was a main
like that. Right, on that bombshell, I think we should move on from Ange Postecoglou in Tottenham
Yeah, well done.
and on to another feature game yesterday. The debut of James Ward-Prowse, Southampton legend,
GW2!
Yeah.
West Ham
England legend.
2 years.
against
England
Chelsea. West Ham 3, Chelsea 1.
Yeah.
Iron.
You didn't watch the game either, did you?
No.
No.
I was on the pub.
There we go. This is a good podcast.
I was
this
on
one.
the pub again.
This is our producer, by the way, everyone.
Yeah.
Matt,
Yeah.
were West Ham actually any good?
So,
They won 3-1 against Chelsea. Were they actually any good?
no. Very simply, no. Chelsea, I mean, they obviously scored the early corner. I can't remember what minute it was, 7th minute. But I mean, bar that in the first half, I can't remember having one meaningful attack whatsoever. James Ward-Prowse had 2 corners, I think, that first half. They nearly scored from one in the 3rd minute. and then 4 minutes later they had another one and put it in exactly the same place. But I think Aguero again, who had exactly the same header, and then scored from that. So I mean that was about it. First half, Jackson looked lively as hell. Looked so good because there was so much space behind. I think he's had like the most sprints in the Premier League this year or something like that. And looks rapid as hell. He's brilliant. I really rate Jackson when there's space in behind. Yeah. However, second half, the minute kind of it changed, that basically West Ham were just defending kind of a 1-1 and then nicked a goal, obviously. But the minute they just dropped deeper, Jackson was non-existent. And Sterling.
Just question if you're on Jackson quickly.
Yeah.
So if he looked so good running behind, did he have chances? And
he did have chances.
What was his finish like?
Erratic, very erratic.
I don't remember him having really clear chances.
He didn't. No, he did. So no, but he'd get kind of. It wasn't really like a clear cut chance. Yeah. It was more like but the cut back was always bad. He'd almost like get to that edge of a 6 yard. You know where City used to get to when they were playing their best, where David Silva and De Bruyne would be at that kind of like 6 yard edge of a 6 yard box on the byline and cut it back. They got to there, him and Sterling, and I don't know how to pronounce his name. Chukwuemeka, who Chukwuemeka looked really good. And the minute he went off, it completely changed the dynamic of the game. The
drop in quality from Chukwuemeka to Mudryk was
massive.
Yeah,
he
looked so bad.
So surprised. So surprised.
So much hype about Mudryk.
I know,
and he almost ended up at Arsenal.
I know. Thing is though, I do feel like he came to Arsenal.
But
he would have done. He would have. We don't allow players to just doss around. He's doing it. We would have got him playing, I reckon. And I think he's on to Chelsea, which is a bit of a mess. A young player needs guidance, needs proper coaching. Obviously, he's getting it from Poch now, but I just think when a player first comes to a club that's a mess, the level can drop, and maybe we'll never see him.
He didn't look like he honestly did not look like a very good player at all. Chukwuemeka looked, and his goal was lovely little feet. I know it's against Souček, and Souček is past it as hell, but I think James Ward-Prowse looked really good, and I think the guy who came on for him, I can't remember, is it Fernandes?
Fernandes for
Alvarez.
Alvarez. Who came on for him. I think them two will be their midfield, and I think it'll be a really solid midfield them two.
Sanchez made a good save as well, didn't it? I noticed he made a good save.
Yeah, no, Sanchez did, and then obviously the old 150 mil signing came on last half an hour, gave away a penalty straight away.
Well, no, so Chelsea's, three of Chelsea's marquee signings over the course of the last year. So Mudryk was rubbish.
Yes.
Enzo Fernandez missed a penalty, and Moises Caicedo, it was overrun over a lot of the last 20 minutes, and he gave away a penalty in the last minute as well. So not looking good for Chelsea right now.
They lack experience. That's what I mean. They're good players, not Mudryk. The other two are good players, but they need like somebody. Kovacic. Why would you let Kovacic go when you got 21-year-olds who are just coming into the team?
Yep.
Schoolboy.
Well, they're relying really on the experience of Chilwell, who's always injured. Thiago Silva. That's
brilliant. That's Adrian's experience.
And Raheem Sterling. And Raheem Sterling doesn't strike me as a leader or an inspiration on the pitch.
Knowing Chelsea, they can put 500 more mil in, and then they'll get a whole new team again. Yeah. As per usual.
Exactly. But I do think Lavia coming into that team and Caicedo kind of come into that team with Enzo Fernandez just above. I still think they're going to finish third. I think they're a really good team, and they showed signs of it all game. They just couldn't do anything.
An honorary word for Raheem Sterling, who did actually play really, really well, but just had no final product. And Matt can't stand Raheem Sterling.
He loves him.
How many times have we said that over the years? He's played well. He's not in product.
But he at least now he's playing well. Last year at Chelsea, he looked lost. But he's actually he did look really good yesterday.
He did.
So we'll see. Right. Moving on to the next game. Let's talk through Aston Villa Everton. I predicted an easy win for Aston Villa. It was an easy win for Aston Villa. It was 4-0.
What did you go for?
I went for 3-1.
Okay, close.
So 4-0 to Aston Villa. Villa have now lost 5-1 and won 4-0.
I love that. I absolutely love that.
It's crazy, really. But
Everton.
yeah, they look really good, and Everton. I don't have words.
I backed them, and they're not looking great so far.
Who's your favourite manager, Andy?
Sean Dyche is the best. I think just they don't have that reliant striker, and it shows so much. I mean, you saw like kind of the chances they were getting, and then just weren't tucking it away for so many home games, and the fans get on their backs as well. It's just, I mean, it's a tough place to make, like tough club to actually make a success at the the but
who was missing the chances? Is it Calvert-Lewin?
He's injured.
Calvert-Lewin started the last game.
Was it Mo?
Calvert-Lewin started last game.
Well, he started this one.
Yeah, against Villa.
Yeah, and then went off injured after 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That's the story of his career.
He's going to be really good. He's going
I'd
to be
love
really,
to
really good player.
So was it Mopai they had up front?
Yes.
Oh, gee.
But I tell you who's in my ranks. I tell you who's in my ranks.
Shelley.
Shay Adams. Shay Adams for 15 million from Southampton.
That'll be a big miss for Southampton, and I actually think it's a really good signing for Everton. I think it's where they're at.
I think it's a really good signing.
Yeah, it's where they're at. They need a striker, and that's the level that they'll be able to get.
He's better than Mopai at finishing. That's a fact.
Is he?
That's a start.
Mopai can't finish.
Yeah, exactly. You're going from 2 goals a year to 4
Yeah.
So I guess you've got to get someone.
Just
gotta
no
get someone.
one-on-ones. No one-on-ones.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Shelley
But-
cannot do them.
Aston Villa look really good. Again, and like, we said it kind of last week when we were talking about Aston Villa versus Newcastle, and they could have scored 4 or 5 goals against Newcastle, and this time they did score 4 or 5 goals. They could have scored a lot more. John McGinn equalled his goal tally from last year, which is good on 1 goal, so that's what matters. I really like John. I think Moussa Diaby looks really good. Ollie Watkins obviously didn't score again, but had about 3 or 4 chances. Obviously won a penalty as well. I love Villa. I really want Villa to do really well this year. Big old Unai. You can't say
Legends.
good evening because he hates that, but I love Unai Emery, and I really, really, really want Villa to do so well this year.
Just a quick word on Brighton. Again, another 4 goals.
Yeah,
They
really good.
Yeah.
Really good. Matoma, brilliant run, brilliant.
Solly March.
Yeah.
I mean, Southgate was actually at the game.
Yeah,
and I mean,
I saw a question on Match of the Day asking, should he be in the England squad? And yes.
How old is he?
Yes.
How old is he? Is he 25? Is he 30? What's Sully? How old is Sully?
25, 26, I'm sure.
Yeah, he should be getting a look at
Surely.
94, so 28.
29.
29.
29.
Yeah, 29 now, yeah, sorry.
I think with the array of attacking talent we've got at the moment, I don't think Solly March should be anywhere near the England squad. I think that's a really bizarre thing when like a forward scores 2 goals in 2 games and then suddenly they should play for England.
He's
That
20.
happens
He's
quite
29.
often.
as
he has
well.
been on
Yes.
form for a while though.
No, he's played well.
He has played well.
But he's also in a system that I think completely suits him.
Absolutely.
And you compare him to other right wingers in English football.
Nowhere near the other ones. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But come on. What do you think about Nathan Redmond?
Reece Nelson.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, yeah.
No, I.
And Cisse looked good as well,
completely
didn't he? Cisse.
And Cisse
He looks like a
really
little
good.
Luis Suarez type player. I like a lot of him.
I do like him.
He's
They're all good, aren't they?
Yeah.
God damn.
Brighton ceiling this year, Andy?
What was that?
Brighton ceiling this year? What do you think? Where can they finish?
Well, they've got European football. I love the signing of James Milner.
Mm-hmm.
There was a little thing on their Instagram just of his highlights in their first game, which he played unbelievably. I think they can get 6th. I think they can get 6th. I mean, they'd struggle to push further from that, but
Especially with
European football as well, I think they'll struggle to push on from that. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Moving on to the next game, which was Fulham 0, Brentford 3. West London derby, in which Brentford very much came out on top.
They are.
Yeah,
flying.
they are. They're really good.
They look
Bremo fantasy, absolute dream he is. He's so good.
Do you know who else is a great fantasy player I've got?
Pinner?
Johan Wissa.
I brought him in. I've just brought him in for next week.
Yeah. What a little player he looks.
Where's he from? What country is he from?
I don't know.
Let's have a look.
Go on,
I
let's
don't
have a look.
know that. I don't know him that well.
He's from France.
No, but who's he played from? Like internationally? That's what
France.
France.
Oh,
He's from France.
he doesn't
Where
play.
does
He doesn't play.
No,
He hates the French.
No, it literally says Congolese French. So I think actually based in
It
based
might
in Congo. Based in Congo.
Oh, sorry, yeah, you're right.
There you are.
There you go. Look at
There you
humble
go.
pie. How did that
Humble
taste?
pie.
How did that taste?
Yes.
But yeah, no. Brentford look really good again. I just
Yeah.
really like them.
I think
Even without Tony.
I
Yeah.
know,
Still
it
like
hasn't
them
actually
goals.
affected them that
No.
much.
That shows how good
They're just
Thomas
sharing.
Frank is, doesn't
Yeah.
it? The coach,
Yeah.
like drilling them, making them good, like and he's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we think that the goals are going to keep coming from Mbeumo and Wissa? If not, could they be not in trouble? But I don't think they'll hit the heights that they did last year. They could have finished 12th, 13th.
I agree.
So possibly another signing there.
Don't think they're going to do it though, are they?
I don't think they are.
No.
They're
I don't think they're that kind of club.
They're not a panic buy.
No, exactly. And I think they've kind of identified. I think the players they have. I think Tony offers more than Mbeumo and obviously
He's
Weezer.
back in January, isn't he?
No,
Tony
no.
February,
He's
January,
suspended.
February.
Is it January?
He's
February?
suspended till January. Well, that's all I
He
know
did
from
a,
fantasy football.
He did another podcast recently where he like kind of opened up about his betting scandal in Diary of a CEO.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, it was a really good, really good listen that one.
Now we've finished that. It is now time for. What is it time for, Matt?
It's time for game week 3.
And what does that mean, Andy?
It's the
I've forgotten them.
Hey, the predictions game.
The predictions
That's very good, Andy.
game.
Very good. I love that. Right. So what I'm going to quickly do is I'm going to read through what games are happening. So we've got Chelsea versus Luton, Bournemouth versus Tottenham, Brentford versus Crystal Palace, Arsenal versus Fulham, Man United versus Nottingham Forest, Everton versus Wolves, Brighton West Ham, Sheffield United Man City, Burnley Aston Villa, and Newcastle Liverpool. Andy, what's your prediction for the week?
right. Well, from my first week, I backed Sheffield United, and that was a terrible mistake. So I went safe last week with Liverpool. So this week I'm going with Man City to beat Sheffield United 5-0 away.
5-0.
5-0. I think Haaland's going to turn it on for that game.
Okay.
Get 3 or 4.
Very good. Chris has gone for a 3-0 Chelsea over Luton. Obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I'm
At
going to
home.
go for a confident 2-0 win for Brentford over Crystal Palace.
Oh, it's a different one. It's at home.
It's at home.
Brentford at home. I still think Palace are one of those teams that can just throw off a shock
can,
victory
yeah.
and shocker thing. So,
We'll see.
so yeah, not so sure about that. I went for Arsenal 3, Fulham 0.
Okay.
I'm not sticking with my strategy of just backing against Sheffield United because I don't want to use my City card yet. No, that's why.
Fair enough.
But otherwise, I would be backing against Sheffield United.
You really don't like Sheffield United.
I don't want Sheffield United. I don't like Sheffield United. That's all the blades. I'm more of a Wednesday man.
And Ali.
I'm going to go for Everton Wolves, and I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw.
Cannot wait to watch that. How exciting.
It's a good game.
Good game.
Perfect. Well, those are our predictions. Obviously, let us know yours as well. We have been On Your Head Son podcast. And remember, it's on your head, son.
Not off your head.
Son.
Hey!